Hey everyone, we'll be back starting in a moment, so please bear with me. Okay, that's all done. There's these. Connection seems to be okay, no drop frames, everything seems to be up. So I think we can begin. Hello everyone, welcome to another stream of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I don't know why I said it like that, but yes. Today we are continuing where we had left off last time. We are currently in the first trial, the second part of the first trial, where we are trying to prove the innocence of the Reaper, and that he doesn't kill anybody, and it was someone else that killed Gregson, the inspector we've been knowing for a long time, or detective. Last time we had spoken to the first set of witnesses that had saw the crime occur, or at least were there and saw the dead guy and the Reaper. They were kind of sketchy, mostly the match lady, who was like, I lie about everything. And it was just like, tell the truth. Okay. But we ended up finding out some things from that. We found that his pocket watch, which was found and stolen by the match lady, only stopped when it ran out of winding power, I guess you would call it. We ended up finding out that he might have been shot earlier, and he had also taken part in the Redheaded League's investigation, trying to find out what their deal was and how they contribute to whatever case he was looking into. And now we are about to speak to the two red-headed people we saw at the beginning of the whole thing, before everything went weird and everyone died. We're going to be talking to them, see what they know and how they attribute to the whole thing, and go from there. So, yeah, without further ado, let us see what we can get up to and what we may learn. Depending on how much is in this one, we might be able to do 2 parts. Or we might be able to do 1. Hey, Refatron. Hey, Balaroth. Welcome. You only woke up 20 minutes ago? How dare you? Lost in future knowledge. Okay, Refatron. Oh, boy. Oh, right, we're here because we also did an escapade. Right, I was like, why are we here? That's not where we were. But no, we were. Right. Any key. I might just do load, because continue might just take me to the, yeah, it will take me to the escapade. So, to the Twisted Commoner's Last Bell Part 2. Or Part 1, it says here, but we're in Part 2. Or Part 1. Part 2 of Part 1. The 2nd of November, 12:33 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. You had to speed run 3 school lessons? What? Oh, right, we're getting straight into it, okay. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, you know, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. Ugh, I got stuff in my face, one second. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. So I win. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes. It's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps It was a deliberate omission? Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on. And Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zeeks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them? We come to think of it. You had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their tricks. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued, slightly, by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze, and it was me who took him in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed. Yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well... then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zeeks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zeeks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Oh, gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. The recesses will be over shortly. Yes, you're right. When the Gregson is sus, yeah. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute the trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Is that a hint that this was going to be a long one? Are you ready then, Mr. Zato? Yes. I don't think you're ready. I don't even think I'm ready. Never Jones streaming. At the moment, Patreon or like streaming is my main source at the moment. Has been for a while. I've only recently been having to try and look for anything. His dramatic stance. He's just standing there. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed-court hearing of Mr. Barrack Van Zeeks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Sogi. My lord, have you summoned the witnesses I've requested? Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local police, or prison by police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the two men into the courtroom. Oh, God. These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. The French guy. I am Fabien Rousseau, a descendant of the great Rousseau family from Nice in France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. I am the third son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners of Napoli. The two men first came acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temsic are the future leaders of Europe. But do you have any idea how boring it is to born with this noble blood? Laws. I make it my mission to make the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do, huh? So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? Oh, oui, you could say that. Not the bad, eh? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. This strange combination is a charm of the hilarious brothers. I had to take a second to read that. See, Capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have to say to you. Eh? Che? Are you about to tell me one of your grand anecdotes, Viva? Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this Capo. And secondly, we are not the airless brothers. This is serious business. Cepello. There it is, the Capo's trumpa card, the furrowed brow. It is deeper, Capo. The furrow and the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, c'est ça. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. I'm combining the French and Italian because of them both. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we have both the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here hears many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the Trevi fountain. Oh, the dogs, on days the world is will expect us to eat their heads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep for the injustice. C'est bien, Peppino. Enough, I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice on every paper in London. Yeah, we saw the notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled The Red-Headed League. Oh, oui, c'est ça. I'm honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the League is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the League, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France? It was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonourable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witnesses as choked with red-headed folk, like a Costa's orange barrow. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face-to-face with every single person present that day. Oh, oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I have seen in the rest of my life. I see. And now, every time I see the Capos there, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Peppino looks like so drop-a-kickable. Throws him like a football. Very good. So, Mr. DeRusso and Dr. Mr. I'm a British man. I cannot speak these words. You will now give your formal testimony to the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. Of course you are. That's why you broke it. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall this man in this photograph, eh, Capo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you he was not part in the park. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught up in the first place. The chicken dance theme plays as Peppino walks. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oh, oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court will now has little confidence in your assurances. Oofa. What's with this attitude? We get to nowhere, huh? He's really a sulking now. Or he's turning Italian. He's really a sulking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary that dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League. Which means it's quite possible that when he was killed, well, that's when he was killed. You forgot you put Cosmo in a gnome outfit? There's a gnome outfit for him? New Captain America. Very well. Let's proceed with the cross-examination now. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination. All right.
Hold it!
Press on everything. 1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital. See, the capo here is the magnetismo animal. Aye? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted the money, Peppino. The £4 per week.
Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants?
Oh, oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. Oh, we take their names and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. And then I tell them to take some days off, to take some days to let them know we buy a post finito. Maybe 2 minuti a person. We started early in the morning, we stop late in the night. So, you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible red-headeds in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair.
Hold it!
He doesn't look at all familiar. No, I don't think so. And this is a wee guy. He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. But that's what says the con artist. Yeah, exactly. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. Oh, no, senor, I may be small, but my memory is very large. It will never forget anything. In my opinion, I do not think this is a man who was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definitive, it seems. Or definite, it seems. Eh, Capel, you didn't see a man like this, huh?
Hold it!
But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oh, yeah, that is true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the Redheaded is very distinctive, aye? But not when you have 1,000 Redheadeds crowding around. This is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, so maybe we could recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I should have forgotten him. Kazuma said that these two have only been shown at the photograph and they've been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, his fish and chips. I could certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in his situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating it incessantly? Not really. I was looking only at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than some caviar and smoked salmon. Or a spaghetti. Me, I love the spaghetti. Oh, what are you doing to the spaghetti? Do not snap it. I will kill you. Really? I had no idea. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. See, Capo, see. I say it again and again. Allora.
Hold it!
I wonder if I have to choose one of the other ones for the previous thing. Well, you only have your word for that. See, but what else can we do, huh? True. Oofa. We are not having much fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Eh, Capo? No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. Huh. You had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Eh, Capo? The Pino killed Greg's breaking spaghetti.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? A cavallo. You promised not to say, eh, Capo? After we had taken all the money that day, we were of the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk? Oh, right, because he's saying it with Dunkirk to my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops. I see, but it is an easy mistake to make. The 1st to 31st. Boff, I have no sympathy for you. We were an all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. It is only because of this that the so-called great-aided detective caught us. Oh, Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It is a holy punishment, eh? Has he got a stomachache? Pino, for the last time. This is not only punishment. This is only your fault. Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with anger. Huh. Maybe I make a mistake. But when it's time to eat at the pasta, no one is faster. And I've seen the evidence. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. Oh, what do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, Yes, you do have a point there. I mean, if they were experts of deception, being caught by trying to steal something is not an act of deception. It seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. Alright, let's get back to that point where I can bring up one of the things. Oh, whoops.
Hold it!
Skip. Whee! I guess his name, because they wouldn't have told him that he's a police officer. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember his situation. But what if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Gregson. Monsieur? Yes. Names, they are boring. I do not listen to any of them. Oh. It was not a real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember their names? That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there. And we've already said that. I see.
It seems there is little to be gained from pursuing this point further.
It tells them again what you said before, Peppino. See, Capo, see. I say it again and again. The thing is, they would have had to have seen him if they didn't know that he didn't have the same coloured mustache as his hair. Because the photograph is in black and white.
Hold it!
I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. What if I told you that the man in the redhead piece was actually a detective? Is the man in the photograph a detective? Yes.
It would appear that he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito.
Sorry, but this changes nothing.
Excuse me.
Something to add, Mr. De Rossi? No, the photo was in colour. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Oh, wow, it is in colour. Even though every other picture isn't. Like, this is not in colour. This isn't. This one isn't. I'm pretty sure colour photos weren't even a thing until, like, the 1920s? But again, they've had colour photos before. It's just, you know. Che? See, I am always adding something. Parmesan. Olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? Oh, what did you just say? About the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What?
Oh, good lord! Order! 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 Explain this. Oh, God. Explain this once, please, in your testimony, witness.
It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us that he was an inspector. As there was no such man. Madai, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not two, the memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat a pasta, then no one is a faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection!
Trottard, the damage is done.
Indeed it is, sir.
Oh, yeah, there was a man who came to the park and said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can you be so sure? Oh, we know it was Sholmes. Because to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner.
I don't resemble whatsoever then.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, "If you are really a detective, show us the proof." See, the capo here, he doesn't take a no for nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector investigation? Or identification?
That is most convincing.
Sorry, my lord?
Oh, counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
Definitively, or definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly, the papers were fake. Certo, capo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said you were under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico. And look, here is the identification. So you stole it from the man? He had it coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was.
Indeed, the person described does not appear to have ordained as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identifications to be made into evidence.
But I like them. All right.
And now, let's return to the witness's testimony.
Let's have a look at this. Well, I suppose we should see what the inspector's identification looks like inside. There's no picture! Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what is the name given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? And the department identification number details are all correct as well. Do you just have that on hand to compare? Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all? Wow, okay. The fact that they stole a real identification papers from a police officer is kind of bad. So, yeah, immediately he is relevant. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade.
Oh, why, Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, counsel?
Is this really a fake or is it genuine? That's the question. Which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Such an angry objection.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen.
That is the boss's. No question about it. It can't be.
And my brain!
As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Redheaded League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Is it the laws?
Order!
Your friend gaslighted you into thinking pocket birth certificates were real? And that it was normal to carry one? You're just carrying around your birth certificate the whole time? Jesus. That's kind of bad. If you lose that, you're not going to get another one, I think. But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me and at me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he'd say. Could it be, then, that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically. Eh? Oh, what are you saying?
Unable to. You're not suggesting.
Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification stolen.
No.
Such a dramatic stance.
Order! Order! Order!
The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? Weh. I know nothing. Weh. I know nothing. I done nothing. Pull yourself together, Peppino. Oh, mon Dieu. You can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, no? Now I wish I had a return to Italia. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Lum, stop your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe we'll need to hear the story in considerable great detail.
I know nothing. I don't know nothing.
But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will try your eyes and testify again. About these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them.
Wow, I saw chat for a second there. It went up to 11. Jeez. Welcome, 11 people. I have to make these noises. Oh, for crying out loud. The detective and the identification. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night in our secret hideout. Even though I don't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, eh?
This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man?
Oh, but no, see, no. It was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Capo? It was never part of my plan, I swear. Oofa, so you think it was my fault, eh? Or just because I got the date of the ferry wrong? And on a little day? I do not think it was your fault, Peppino, I know it. Oh, no. Per favore, Capo, it's not fair. God, switch between French and Italian is really... it's confusing my voice. My throat, whatever.
You should have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
Ugh. I don't believe this. How could this happen to a real detective?
Counsel for the defense proceed with the cross-examination.
So, on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in his pair's hideout. Interesting. I wonder if it would be the same place. The detective and the identification.
Hold it!
Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me, I never intended for that to happen. I am not sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think? But there was nothing else I could do. I see, nothing else. There was a first crime for the capo. He was at the end of his wits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind.
What about this hideout of yours?
An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was inspired idea by the capo here.
An impulsive idea, I would say.
No, not impulsive, inspired. Capo? What am I supposed to say to that, Peppino? And it was in the house you described that you'd confined Inspector Gregson, was it? Oui. Oh, but you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a pretender. Not a real inspector. That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you are right, but we couldn't be completely certain.
Hold it!
We're too scared. Why? Because we had to come to the park. We didn't know. Oh, whoops, I was clicking in the wrong spot. There was a chance that he had seen through my plan. Why does it say Death Stranding Director's Cut on my chat? Let me just check that. It says it correctly on the other places. It's weird. And if that was the case, he would have gone straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning for the be inspector, he was up to no good, huh? Without a doubt.
I think most people would agree that it's you two who are up to no good.
Oh, well, see, you may be right. Capo? The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. See, I ask myself the same question. We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who we took shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard Homicide Division, he said. What? He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude. I was just politely asking why he said that. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterwards, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at?
Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say?
See, we did. You have so many unhinged feelings about Cosma? Okay. Run, Cosma, run!
Hold it!
That being this identification book here, correct? See, that's the one.
What made you believe that it was a forgery?
I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious, this man. Allora, I think he was thinking, it must be falso, capo? Oh, it was just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine. And so together, the Hairless Brothers, we took that man captive. All we did was shove him inside a locked room. And then we made preparations for transport towards the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. There might have been a little tussle, but I don't think we did everything good to play. What do you mean by a little tussle, exactly? Oh, boff, it was nothing. Just a minor incident. Oh, the false inspector, he's a real piece of work, capo? What happened? Oof, it was a disaster. We give him a nice room, and what does he do, In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through the ventilator. Can you blame him? Oh, we chased him, bien sûr. And we caught him again. Can you blame us? Yes, we can. Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? Zut, who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply caught hold of him again and took him back to the room.
Excuse me.
Mr. De Rossi, is something wrong? Me? Something Mr. De Rosso just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. Was that all about? Or what was that all about? A cavallo. At times like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from a personal experience. Personal experience? That is nothing, Peppino. Or enough. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the Redhead League into action, I was scared. It was not fair for the capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But the capo here, he came after me like at the turbine, huh? and they dragged me back into the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it, eh, Capo?
Bruises, you say? Are you attacking this child?
Ah, you wanna see, huh? You wanna see my fantastical bruises? That is enough, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you. Is that stuff around his neck bruise, or is that just a shadow? Oh, what to do, huh? I show you what I don't. I show you what I don't. You do, now! Allora, if everybody wants to see her, then I do it. Ecco, you see, it's very visible, eh? That red ring around your neck? I was right. You got that when you were dragged to the house? Check their ages. Yeah, I was thinking about that. People. He's 26. He's 25? I thought they were in that, like, I thought this guy would be in his teens and this guy would be like 8 or 9. He's 25? Okay. I see the Capo sometimes he is a very rough, and I said that's enough. Peppino's neck is nothing to do with what we're talking about here. You have my word.
Yes. What is your opinion, Consul?
About this red ring around Mr. De Rossi's neck. I wonder, does it matter? Yeah. Mr. De Rossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about the mark on your neck. Hey, Capo, you see? Everyone is interested in what I say, huh? I'm actually really surprised, because they make them act so childish that I make them think they're younger than they are.
Very well, you will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rossi.
I see. If you want to know. He tried to escape, but the Capo put the collar on him and dragged him back like what he did to me, see? Now, does he have... where's the autopsy report? Something in here? Scorch marks on entry point. The bullet exited the body from behind. Nothing here about marks on the neck. Was there anything on the photograph? I don't see a collar. Maybe I press first. Are you saying that red mark was caused by... I see, a big collar made from a leather. A leather collar? Is this true, Mr. De Rosso? Oh, what? Oh, we had a Separad at home when I was younger. It was a souvenir from that time. Was a very strong chain. A strong chain? And you put that around your friend's neck? I'm sorry. It was so angry that he was leaving me alone. He didn't have to tie the chain to the leg of the bed, though? I would have not tried to run again. You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Treat the people equal is the Capo his motto, eh?
It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden.
The Capo is a tough, but the Capo is a rough. I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning, when you released the inspector, he had a red ring around his neck, just like me. Peppino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now. And now you know, the Capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But your inspector is not so bad. Hey, Matt, welcome. I'm at this point? What does that mean? You make me worried about that now. So, I don't know if I present anything here, but let's press this because it might change. You took away the man's freedom. How comfortable you make it sound. You're still holding him prisoner. If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too. The lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, huh? All of us. Huh? No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad. It makes me sad. Oh, what can we do? Well... If you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. Though it will cost you, of course. Oof, there you have it. Well, you see, this is why we entered the Red-Headed League, to fight the justice. Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruhodo. All we did was give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. You say it was a prisoner, huh? Perhaps he was a point again. No again, Mr. Naruhodo. You should have heard him just snoring. Madai, if anyone was disturbed, it was us. Okay. Not much to go on, really. Their testimony does make me wonder, you know. About this pocket watch belonging to the inspector, I mean. Yes, the one he was treasured so much, apparently. If he was confined, but not restrained as the witnesses are implying, he would still have been able to wind his watch. That's very true, yes. So did Inspector Gregson actually die while he was being held captive by these redheads? In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's? To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo, yes. Okay. So we pretty much pressed on everything. Took him prisoner, kept him for the night. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go. We took the man's identification for him and shut him inside the room next to ours. We tried to escape, but the capo put a collar on him. I mean, I guess I can present it. I mean, I'm only going to use a point if I do.
Objection.
13, finally. 14! How are we getting this many? Are you just, like, opening multiple tabs, or have we got actual people? Welcome, 14 people, if you are real. Welcome. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that, Zat. We were hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains.
What inconsistency is this, Counsel?
I would ask you to look closely at the photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there are no red rings visible around his neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. And I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. And given that the mark is still clearly visible on his witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi.
Indeed. Oh, that is most peculiar.
But would we tell you, huh? We say this from the beginning. Many times, Oh, yeah, Peppino is right. The man in the photograph is someone different to the man we held captives that night. They're just both breaking down.
Order!
It would appear, then, that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection.
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself.
You suck at your junk, Kazuma, that's why.
Hey, Saroon, welcome. And we all know that the inspector was made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely.
The inconsistencies noted by the defense is most troubling.
My existence is debated. Don't worry, I know you're real, Balaroth.
If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they were actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel?
The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who ended up in the park on the Redheaded League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe.
Good gracious! Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whatever is truth that you have apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi?
Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson.
In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park at Lime Street, found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? I see, that's alright. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a puller to a post for the dock collar. Oh mon Dieu, Peppino. It is not so harsh as you to say, huh? So who was that falso inspector, eh? Who was he?
Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man who these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witness encounter in the park, posing as Inspector Gregson?
I have to remember who had marks on their neck, because it's been a while. God, I'm trying to remember who had marks on their neck. Come on, think, remember. Because I remember mentioning it. Like, there's a weird mark on this person's neck, but I can't remember who it was. Was it Daily Vigil? Alright, these two have already been shown. You can see the red mark on there. I wonder if it shows on the portraits. Ah!
Take that!
Oh, goodness me! Isn't that?
One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by.
Objection!
What on earth will the street seller be doing with the police inspector's identification papers? Well, witnesses, is this the man or not?
What has happened to his lip? I see, this is a man not for the Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, you know?
Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead.
It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noticed something around the man's neck, a red ring of bruising. Eh?
A what?
The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Interesting, okay.
Order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom. Immediately. Oh, well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witnesses beside him.
He just sorted his hair out and he's already messed it up again. I have to remember what I did.
Oh, what's going on here then, eh? I've always had this me. It's a birthmark, isn't it?
A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you're being recalled to the stand has been explained to you.
Just something about an inspector again. But I'm telling you, you got nothing wrong as usual.
You're denying all knowledge of it?
Of course I am. What are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh?
Well, at least you have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. De Rosso and Mr. De Rossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have a choice? We are in a bigger trouble, eh, Capo?
That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony at once.
This is getting a bit weird. I'm wondering if this guy's actually important or if there's going to be like a third party we don't know about yet. The inspector identification is revisited. The man who claimed to be in sector that day was definitely not this man. He's right, see? Oh, you would think we would forget a grand lipper?
I'd never leave Fresno Street, all right? I've no interest in any red-headed league. I'm all alone in this world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I'll carry off a disguise with a face like this?
Maybe if you're stuck in your lip? I don't know.
You would certainly appear that we are the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, eh? As there was no need for this pointless testimony.
That's right. I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I become by a police investigatory book, eh?
Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but...
A brief crime examination, I think, for the council. Very brief.
Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be on to something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't care, I just want to win. Alright. You know, we keep showing them different pictures. Why can't we just get them to describe the man that they saw?
Hold it!
Get a sketch artist to come in. So you say, but how can you be quite certain? There is no need for to hurt your hands on the desk, monsieur. Surely the reasoning is obvious, no? Because I have never before seen lips like this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Gossip's neck. And it looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleagues by your prized collar. Mon Dieu, with the words, it's like you try to wring my neck. It does look very much like my neck, though, eh? No, this is a birthmark, lad.
They're the biggest lips in London and a neck to die for, and they broke the mold when they made me.
It was the first time in my life. I feel lucky to have been born with the red hair. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain that you've never seen this man before? Oh, oui, c'est ça. I swear to the flames of the red hair. So the fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it? The Man with the Twisted Lip is a Sherlock Holmes title. Wow.
Hold it!
Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. That is what I am saying. For some reason, it makes me want to eat. How did Fabian call it? An eclair. You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise, I'd never seen red hairs like yours until I came to Britain. I see, maybe it's a national trait, eh? Maybe all the people from this Amana country have a grand lip.
No, lad, I was born here on Fresno Street, and I've never left.
Oof, that is the problem, see? So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip.
Now, how many times do I have to say it? Maybe say it, eh?
I hate how jiggly his lip is.
Hold it!
So, you've heard of the Redheaded League, have you?
You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going on in town. I saw that tasty bit of fair redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got Sandwich to cough up for it.
Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. Who knows?
But as you can see, my own hair's not good. Got a hint of red in it. And in any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me siding up to some other part of town.
Is that so?
Not so likely.
Excuse me.
Mr. Doroso. Oui, can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's word just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something.
To be the headquarters of your Redheaded League, yes?
I visited an housing agent on Lime Street, and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent.
What? Mr. Gossip with a housing agent?
Oh, he had some kind of contract in his hand, and they were very clearly discussing terms.
But no, you're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, me, like I said before. You've mistaken me for someone else. Someone with the same face.
No, the capo is right. I remember it too. He was paying the man with the banknotes.
With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me.
I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name of the papers.
And what name was written?
Mr. Gossip? No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, his name is a huge Boone. I nearly said it again. Hugh Boone. Huh? Is better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See?
No. I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. It is not as the function of the council to invade the privacy of the witness, but we will have to. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, mister. The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial, assuming no objection.
Objection!
I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to the case.
Oh, good gracious. Do you simply subject Prosecutor Sogi?
As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings.
Well, I never. In what capacity?
How do you forget this? You're the judge. Hugh Boone, the name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking.
Well, all right. I suppose that might be the case, eh?
So your real name is Hugh Boone.
Oh, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there's no fair peddler of tidbits in town. So I happen to be a affordable, grubby little room in falling down backstreet downtown. You too?
I made him sound so surprised by that.
And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now. There was 2 vulgar redheads there last time.
Eh? If either of us is a vulgar, is it not me? Think again, Peppino. Why didn't you bring this up before?
It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. He's a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation. Mr. Boone, I'm using the wrong voice for myself. If I must. He's old and it's mentioned only once in the passing. I mean, yeah. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered has been here under our noses all along. I mean, it makes a lot of difference. So, you live in that room presumably, do you? Oh, no, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed in there. It's just a desk. Oh, whoops. Then, why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say, really. Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have had access to. No, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. It's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me. The desk and chair and that. People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room? Well, obviously, I'm not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. It seems that Mr. Boone, would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason. Yes, it does come across that way, and more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, that's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man. Tea. Why is inspecting a room? Would rather be little as known as possible about the room as possible for some reason. Knowing that seeing the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me. So it's not this part.
Hold it!
You mean you have no family? No, none at all. So I spend my days on Fresno Street peddling tidbits for passers-by. Hoping, just between us, that is, that eventually someone else with lips like mine will come along. I don't think so. You may be right. Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, that's a fellow to do then, eh? If you don't believe me, we're at an impasse. And there's nothing I can do but flick my lip. It looks like I'm gonna get away anywhere here unless I can produce some proof. Wait a minute. You're basically saying I gotta dress up and pose as some fancy inspector, aren't you? Well, it's beyond me how I could think that. I could do that. I just had a thought. Is this guy... Hold on a second. Similar sort of curls. He could be Riley. Okay, let me present this then. Because if he owns everything in the room except the notice board, the only things in there are like, one of the important items is the picture, as I just read in chat. If the desk and chair is his, presumably everything on the desk is too. Yeah. I came to the same conclusion as you, but I just read chat now. You said it before I thought it. If you have no kinsfolk, as you put it, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well... Mr. Boone, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are. Oh, it's this song again. I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't want to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says. Leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case.
Sure it is. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
But what if we were to look at the other way around? Oh, what do you mean?
Yes, Counsel, what do you mean?
Well, there's no denying that Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip itself is part of his elaborate disguise. But then hiding the prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Huge Boone? You know, I just had the thought. His lips remind me of Captain Muscle or whatever. Is it King Muscle? The wrestler anime.
God, what this are you trying to hide the truth from this court?
If that is a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's a really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court.
No, please, no. Very well then, Counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Mr. Gossip on the street?
Take that!
I know it's Hugh. I keep calling him Huge. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil.
Yeah. I don't recall that name, Counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, this is Mrs. Vigil.
Oh, what?
From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two Red-Headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been able to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence.
Now just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea.
What I'm talking about, really? It's simple enough manner to confirm my suspicions. All we need to do is pull off that disguise.
No, please.
Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a washball at once. I'm doing the wrong voice. I'm sorry, Judge. I didn't mean to overtake you.
Oh, you better. I'll do what he said, bailiff.
Mr. De Rousseau and
Mr. De Rossi, you will restrain the witness.
Witnesses! Restrain the witness! Oh, oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Oh, God.
Ah! No! Stop! Get off, please! Don't!
Well,
we are now seeing your true features, I presume?
Well, suddenly got an outfit. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. He's so sad now.
It would appear that the defense counsel's assertions was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court. Have you seen this man before?
I don't believe it, but... see, there is no question. This
Is the inspector we saw in the park.
Extraordinary.
On the day on the Redheaded League's enrollment, sorry, I had to move around a bit. The man claiming to be the Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi in the park was you disguised as the Inspector, or rather, was you posing as the Inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the Chief Warder at the Barclay Prison.
The Chief Warder? As in your career had promised. Why would you quite possibly become the future governor of the prison? What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on the Fresno Street?
Well, it was been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison.
10 years?
So sad. Is his hair slightly purple? I don't know if he's Irish or not still, but I'll go with it. I'm dreadfully sorry for all of this. This is Italian, not Irish or Scottish. Yes, it is true. I am a daily vigil.
And you were the Chief Warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago? So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from?
Boone is, the other me. It's a name I invented.
Well, evidently a great deal under the surface there.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how the rich man my life has become. I make him Italian. I can't. I'm stuck in Italian. Well, as you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's Chief Warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation, or by which to earn a wage. Oh, there we go. I'm starting to get into it. But times were harder in London, and I found no suitable engagement at all. In a desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the Chief Warder at the Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife would not know of my failings, which is why I never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone. And I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The problem with voice acting. Yeah, it's like I'm stuck. I'm stuck in one accent and I can't get out of it. At the scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at the neat as a squalid peddler. And transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But that explains it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them.
So instead, you decided to disappoint everyone else, to conceal your occupation from them?
Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything.
Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could have sold to passing gentlemen, even at 6 apiece. You couldn't hope to match the salary you must have had commanded as Chief Warder of the prison. Very true. You have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misgotten employment.
Hey, quiz. Sister asked, why does he sound Russian? It's hard, okay? I have to do an Italian accent. I have to do a French accent. I have to do the judge, who's like all cotton-mouthed. I have to do the grand voice of freaking of the guy.
I have to do my normal voice, I have to do a slightly posh voice for freaking Susanoo, and then I have to do Sholmes. There's a lot of voices, okay? I can't keep all of it all in my mind. Oh, that was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I invented Boo and had begun my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector that he is, recognized me one day.
Do you mean to say the victim was acquainted with yours?
I have to do Russian again next case? Oh, great. I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. And then one day, a dramatic pose, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room, and the inspector couldn't brief me. Visit? Oh, I have to remember frickin' Gregson's voice now.
Sunshine, visit Oakhurst's tomorrow and statement for the proprietress.
I just have to say sunshine, and I can immediately, remember what I have to say. Nearly. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification, so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offence.
But why? What was the point of your impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions.
Now remember, Visual, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, all right? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up Croaker.
In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second officer to him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me. Acting on Inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my boon disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the Inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. He turned into a frog. Quick, feed him some fish and chips and turn him back. Well then. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case.
Explain yourself, Prosecutor Togi.
My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these two red-headed League gentlemen, when they imprisoned the inspector. He slapped his hands too hard. But no, that cannot be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh, goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Fence, for proving it. What? Ah! I'm dead now.
Order. Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Objection. Hold it. I knew it. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question for the witness. Kazuma? Oh, what question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at the very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago. The execution of the professor, Genshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me, man. Oh, one moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Or does the defense concur, counsel? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm as collected as usual. Oh, poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. He's gone mad, and he has brain damage. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. I know, I do understand that, but even so. Prosecutor Asogi. Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me, please. I just want you to do what I want, damn it! Just do everything! Very well then. The defense has no objection. I see. If the things were reversed, we wouldn't be offered the same sort of leniency. They'd be like, we won't give you anything. In that case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some particular reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Well, 10 years is a long time, but to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job? Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories have resurface. And when they do, the fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Screw you and your mental trauma. I must learn about my father. Right, now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. Have I played Ace Attorney 4 to 6 yet? I believe so. That's the Apollo Justice trilogy. I've done those, yeah. Kazuma traumatizing Daily like Miles traumatizing Adrian. He means to expose the truth at any cost.
Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? I have no idea how this is going to go, but this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. Dismissal notice.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes, in other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name of the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? He's completely lost his Scottish accent now. So you didn't resign from the prison service at all? For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Berkeley. No, there's some mistake. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. The dismissal notice is nonsense. Oh, isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been a good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. Break your mind! According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June, 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Berkeley Prison. The 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor, as you were the Chief Warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict ostensibly executed earlier that day later re-emerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convicts clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Imagine if they just animated the still wax figure just slip down to die. Those might have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes! Yes! Why is he saying it like this? Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, you know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June, 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil? Yes, the whole prison. It was a complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Berkeley like a hurricane. What?
Order. Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, That you remembers of the time I've returned?
My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh my goodness. I was in the wrong voice forever, I'm just moving on. The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who had seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? In Lowgate Cemetery at plot number 139. Blood, lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there.
The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering.
I reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigation team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting that a prison warder abducted the man's bid for freedom?
Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me, and the more I remember, the more Scottish I become, even though I'm not Scottish. One evening, after a few days after the execution, some ex-detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office off the top of the watchtower. Did he always have an axe? I've forgotten the voice I gave to this guy. I know it was deep.
I'm sorry, Daly. There is serious business and I came to help you. I cannot help you, no. As Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the executions of 4 aye.
Well, it seems the fellas at Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're going to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, He's spinning faster and faster. The Professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished. My life is over. Did he jump out the window? Or is that just him smashing? Ah! And we killed him. Good job, Cosma.
All right, bailiff, let's the doctor at once.
He doesn't care. He's like, okay.
Go to the den for the day with immediate effect.
Okay. Wow, okay.
So, with
Oh,
Mr.
voice!
Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean.
Guys, I don't. If that is true, please don't tell me that kind of thing. I want to find that out because that's spoiling me. I want to know. I want to find out in the game.
Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Cosma, and Greg's.
But it would explain how his memory is kind of shot because he might have hit his head.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Dramatic. There we go. To be continued. Save current progress. Yes, I will save. Oh, wow. It goes straight into the next investigation. Okay. I thought we'd have like a break and then we go back to the trial, but no, we go into investigations next. All right, let me see how long we've been going for. Oh, okay. An hour and 45 minutes. The next part is twice as long as this part. Oh, in that case, I'd rather save that for a full stream. So we might actually stop there for the main cases, but we'll actually, because we still got time, we could definitely go to the escapades. I got to go to work. Yes, this is intense. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for dropping by, Matt Manero. It was great having you. Yeah, what we'll do is that we'll get to the escapades and watch one of those. Because we can save this for next time. We can have a full stream for it rather than having to stop halfway through. Wait, wrong button. Back to title. Don't save. Yes. But what a twist. And now to come down from the high of the stress and the interesting scenes, we're going to go do an escapade, which might be more upbeat. We are now at number 7, on Briar Road. A chilling escapade about a shilling's escape from the clutches of Rolly and Pat Beat, who'd only just found it on the street. Gina the pickpocket is the obvious suspect, but Rionosuke, Sholmes, and his Iris happen to be passing, and the plot quickly thickens. I don't remember if they fully on way. He just jumped, but that's what's being implied. Okay. You're about to play the escapade entitled Episode 7. Yes. The 30th of April, 12:20 p.m. Briar Road. I have to voice these people again. Sir, Constable Rolly Beat, reporting for duty. I have to remember their voices. Thanks to the good officers, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm back on my beat here in the capital. Doing my best for the citizens of London, sir. Ah, my Rolly. Back in his Bobby's uniform. You couldn't look any more handsome if you tried. My love. You say the sweetest things. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. To us, Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper of the Bailey at all. Oh, no, of course not. He's the patron saint of Bobby's. So this is kind of fitting, apparently, going by what's going on now with him being implicated in a murder. At least these people do believe in him. The patron saint. Oh, yes, Pat, you're so right, my darling. Keeping us in pocket, he is. What did I find in a gutter? A shilling, my love, a whole shilling. On my first day back on the job, too. Oh, Rolly. I always believed in you. I always knew one day you'd find some big, small change. With just that shilling, I could buy you a cheap butter containing a single flower, my sugar. A single flower? Oh, how romantic. But I'm sorry, Pat. Only moments ago, that shilling disappeared. Disappeared? But how, my love? How? I think maybe. No, I'm sure. It was that girl there, sir. You swept my precious shilling, didn't you, you cheeky little diver? She's not wearing her coat. Blimey. You took your time getting around to me, didn't you? I thought that lovey-dovey stuff weren't going to ever change. It's going to end. So, a shilling, you say? Lifted from your, was it? Don't know nothing about it. Where's the evidence, eh? Right there. The evidence is dancing around your back of your hand, young lady. You stole it from me. You lifted it from my pocket just now. You're not got a nerve stealing from a bobby. Cobblers, this coin's mine. How should you know anyway? How could you know it was just taken just now or not? Jimmy, you don't get it, do you? We've hardly got a penny to our names, so that coin felt as heavy to me as a bar of gold. Eh? I'm telling you, the moment it left my pocket, I knew. I felt myself get a good few pounds lighter. Yep, that coin got my blood, sweat, and tears all over it. What's the matter with you, eh, Mr. Naruto? Huh? Me? Sorry. When a lady's in trouble, the true gent's supposed to be there to help, straight away, not an hour later. Well, this isn't even my fault. I haven't stolen anything.
What about you, Sholmes? I thought you were supposed to be a great detective. Dear me, Lestrade. Where was he hiding? Was he in a snowman? You took your time getting around to me, didn't you? I thought your long dispute was never going to end. You only said give us a minute when we spotted you over the road and said hello. And that was 10 minutes ago, Ginny. We've just been standing here listening to you quarrel with this Bobby. Do beg your pardon, madam. We shouldn't be troubling you the public with police business. But that shilling belongs to us, doesn't it, Rolly? Of course it does, my love. It's just for you and me, my darling. No, she's still wearing the clothes she found that don't even fit her? Yeah. This was supposed to be a nice stroll with Iris and Mr. Sholmes before afternoon tea. Why did we have to run into another fiasco on Briar Road? I don't really see how we could be of any help, Gina. There's no way of knowing who the coin really belongs to if it just dropped into the gutter. I wouldn't be so sure of that, Runo. What? I have a gun, and I will shoot whoever owns the coin, so it's now mine. I have a feeling I might know the answer to the question of whose coin that is. Ah, my bright young fellow lodger. Let us hear your deduction. Well, there's actually a reason why I suggested a stroll down Briar Road. Oh? What reason? You see, I was here yesterday and, well, I dropped a little something. I skipped too past by that. Let me see what it said. And I dropped a little something. So I wanted to come and to look for it while enjoying an afternoon stroll. Wait, you dropped something? You don't mean... It was the pocket money that Hurley gave me. What's this, Iris? You dropped that, did you? I'm sorry. I went to the market on Lime Street yesterday to pick up some herbs, you see. But on the way, I must have dropped it. The 1 shilling coin you gave me. Oh. A 1 bob bit? Yes, and when I brought them back over the route I took, I realized I must have dropped it here. Constable, you wouldn't have seen anything, have you? It's all my pocket money, and now it's gone. Well, I'm afraid I don't know anything about that, young lady. What rotten luck, dropping your money like that? Sorry. I dare say the constable and his companion could give you a run for the money with their wide eyes. It's all the same to you, Mr. Sholmes. I think I prefer not to be used as the yardstick for looking guilty. Well, it's tough it's tough really, isn't it, Iris? You dropped it, so it ain't yours no more. Anyway, you know what they say. What goes around comes around, so don't feel bad. Oh my god, I just remembered how much of a douche she was when she was a thief. It's like, oh, well, I found it, so it's mine now. Screw you. Even to Iris. To Iris. Bad luck, Iris. It doesn't look good like you're going to get your coin back. Oh, I can't believe I lost it. And straight after Hurley gave it to me as well. Yes, regrettable indeed. I seem to recall that particular coin was rather significant. What do you mean, significant? To be specific, it was especially significant to you, Runo. Significant to me? You don't mean... It was the coin from last night's wager. The very same, my dear fellow. What's this then? What wager? She was nice once we got to know her. Yeah, I get it, but, you know. It was a game of poker, a duel between Hurley and Runo. Poker? What, that tricky card game, you mean? As a lawyer, I have the perfect poker face. You'll never be able to tell what I'm thinking, said he. But depriving Mr. Nahoro of his entire fortune was even easier than finding that missing thoroughbred. It was so infuriating reliving it now, just still makes me grit my teeth. Sorry, Iris, I had every intention of paying you back the money I owe you, but you'll have to wait, I'm afraid. Yes, I know. Don't worry, next month is fine. Let me guess, Otto, your old fortune. It was 1 whole shilling, my entire monthly stipend, and I lost all of it. As I handed it over to Mr. Sholmes, I gritted my teeth so hard my gums started to bleed. Please, Runo,
Don't exaggerate. That's a horrible image. What about that lawyer who borrows money from a 10-year-old girl? Now that's a horrible image. Why do I feel like my reputation with this couple has just fallen through the floor? There are a few things more invigorating than taking a man for all he's worth. Don't be so pleased with yourself, Hurley. It's not as if Runa ever had a chance of winning. Wait, what? What do you mean? Well, using that special ink I developed, anyone could. Thank you, Iris. That will do. I'm sure this conversation is proving very dull for everyone. Well, what's done is done. The game is over now. There's no point crying over spilt milk. A special ink, you say? Well, sir, that sounds like the sort of risky business that put right up my alley. Oh, Rawley, I love your dauntless spirits. You've laughed in the face of danger. She was the most redesigned, rewritten character in the duology. Yeah. Oh, come on then, Iris. Spill it. What's the special ink about, eh? Well, it's what's sometimes called invisible ink. All you have to do is write the suit and number on the reverse side of every card. And with the aid of some special glasses, the whole game is laid bare to you. Wait, you were wearing glasses last night, weren't you, Mr. Sholmes? That would be suspicious for anyone. You said something along the lines of, my eyesight appears to have suddenly worsened. And the moment you failed to question that as odd, was the moment I knew I'd won the game. That's for Sholmes saying that. That's my mistake. Mind games, was it? Trying to throw me off with your eccentric ways? So you're telling me Mr. Sholmes could see very every card what Otto had? What? But that's not mind games, that's blatant cheating. My dear fellow, what an accusation. Would you honestly consider me a cheat? Please. I prefer trickster. Oh my god. Whatever you call it, the game doesn't count now. Understand, Mr. Sholmes? Dear me. Well, out of respect for the bad grace for which you take defeat, allow me to return your shilling. Did you hear that, Gina? So give it here. Eh? Leave me out of this. This here one bit was mine from the start, no question. No, sir, that one bit was lifted from this here Poppy's pocket only a few moments ago. So you keep saying. Come on then, what's the evidence? Eh? The law, right? It's all about evidence. I know my stuff. You see, Mr. Naruhodo, use a trite excuse in court and others will parrot it. Or parrot it. Only when I do say that in court, it isn't as trite as excuse, you know. As I said, sir, that coin had got my blood, sweat and tears all over it. That's right, it has. Rolly's blood, sweat and tears are over that evidence. Well, if it's got ink on it, then you'll be able to easily determine. Just put the glasses on. Blood, you say? In that case, it's time. For this? Do you think... Well, if there's any trace of blood on that coin, we'll soon know about it. Alright, Ginny, hold very still. Eh? What? Yeah, shoot her! Look at that. See there on the coin? It's clearly changed colour. In other words, there is blood on this coin. Well, Sholmes. Whoops. Once again, as I said, sir, that would be my blood, sweat, and Oh, wait. I've seen blood turn that colour before. Yes, I know whose it is. I know whose coin it is. What? The rightful owner of this blood-stained shilling is... Bruno. Huh? Me? And from the appearance of the blood, I would say it is quite fresh, left within the last 24 hours. Within the last... then, in that case... So, this is the coin what Sholmes had up Otto last night in the poker game? Oh, Bruno, do you mean... You really did make yourself gums bleed? Your own gums? I told you, I was so infuriated to lose, I had to grit my teeth as I handed over the money. Blimey, you're as hard up as me as by the sound of it, and I thought he had a proper job. Come on, Gina, just hand it over, would you? The shilling, that's rightfully mine. Fine, alright then. Just stop your bleeding staring. Yes, I win! Sucks to be you, Gina. You're poor again. I finally have it back. It's like a dream come true. I nearly had that one in the bag and all. That's wonderful news, Runa. I'm so happy for you. Now then, as you promised, I'd like my money back, please. The shilling I lent you before. You did say that you paid back out of this month's pocket money, didn't you? Oh, yes. Well then, I suppose... My dear fellow, do be kind to your gums. Looks like that shilling was always destined to be taken from you, sir. For some reason, the phrase serves you right is floating around in my head. So, Iris, as promised, here, it's the shilling I owe you. Oh, you're repaying me already? Well, thank you. Next month would have been fine, though. What's it all about anyway? What are you lending Otto for money for? Yes, well, actually, it's because I went to the Lime Street Market yesterday to buy herbs. We were just there talking about this. For Runo. Herbs? For Otto? Yeah, the tea Mrs. Ada left behind is top quality Gyokuro tea, but it's just so bitter. So when Iris suggested mixing it with some herbs to make it more palatable, I asked her to buy me some. Oh, that's right. We've made a special Japanese herbal tea with the leftover Gyokuro. I'm going to call it Susie's Special Blend. I do hope you'll try it. The excruciating bitterness clings to the throat. If you could persuade the bright green gloop to leave the cup. Why, it sounds quite delicious. Yeah, right. And thus he was killed by the green goop tea. Oh, we're still going, okay. Well, it would appear this shilling's brief adventures are now at an end. Adventures? You must agree, my dear fellow, that the coin has made a considerable journey since last night. Let's see. Originally, it was the coin I was supposed to give to Iris to pay for the herbs. But then in our poker duel last night, it passed to you, Mr. Sholmes, who gave it to Iris spending money. But then I dropped it in here sometime yesterday. And then my beloved Rowley found it where we will go and picked it up. Before it was lifted from my pocket by this here diver. I then used my favourite gun to show up the blood on that was on it. And let slip about Sholmes' little scam in his card game last night. The annulment of which resulted in the coin returning to the ownership of Mr. Naruhodo. Allow me to pay Iris the money I owed him after all. For the herbs she bought in order to make Susie's Special Blend tea. And now, after all that, the coin is resting safely in my pocket. Yeah, you're right. That was an adventure. But what are we supposed to take away from it, eh? This 1 shilling coin belongs to Iris and Iris alone, I think. I cannot fault your observation, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, you know what they say. What goes around comes around. Why do I get the feeling that Iris knew it was coming around to her from the very beginning? Priceless, as they say. Well then, my dear fellow, how about this evening we indulge in some bitter tea and bitter rematch? I'll even allow you to stake the coming month's spending money in advance. I fold. Yeah! That's another one in the bag. Woo! Alright, that just leaves the Bailey one. How much do we got left? Oh, it's about 2 hours, so we can end there. We can save that for another time. Woo! The last one is so good I replayed it last night. It's definitely something we shall save for another time. Because we're going over time now. And it's... yeah. It's fine. We've got plenty of time. It might end up being that we might do that next stream. Who knows? But that is it for today. So let's get out of here. Exit game. So, yes, that is where we will end for today. So, thank you all for watching today. I hope everyone enjoyed. We shall be continuing this next week, Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow with more Death Stranding. However, I will say that tomorrow I'm having new internet lines put into the house. Like, obviously, I say me, but everyone in the house is. So depending on how late that goes or how soon that gets done, I may or may not be streaming on time, or I may not stream at all, depending on how it goes. If it's just a simple, like, it's plugged in and done, then that'd be great. And maybe I'll have a faster internet, because the internet we have at the moment is kind of all over the place. But we shall see. I say it's all over the place. It's not as good as what we should be getting, so hopefully the new one we get put in will be better. But yeah, depending on how that goes tomorrow, I'll probably stream. If it doesn't work out, then I'll probably not stream. But hopefully it goes well. But anyway, back to today. Thank you all for joining for another stream. Hope you all enjoyed. As usual, if you have not already, be sure to like, follow, subscribe to the notifications so when the next stream. And if you want to help support me directly, there's links to Patreon and tips. And if you do become a patron, you get your name entered to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out of every stream, like I do with Hiro Kuni, the Soulmaster 37, and Rafferton 2000. I thank you for the continued support. I greatly appreciate you all. And we prove that there's more to this case than we first thought. And it does help a lot. Like, it helps support the channel, it helps support me. And you know, the more people that support me, the more better streams become. Like, I get better microphones and better software and hardware and all that stuff. But yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow with more Death Stranding for those that want to watch that. And as for right now, yeah, thanks for joining. Until next time, guys, y'all take care. Have a nice rest of the day. Catch you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye, Barfatron. Bye, Balaroth. Bye, Matt. Bye, Saroon. Bye, everyone else that's still here. See you.